Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise to get you those surprising insights you need. Today, we're tackling something pretty critical for a lot of experienced pros, making a big career pivot. Specifically, we're looking at how an experienced project manager, someone really steeped in traditional waterfall ways, how you can successfully transition to become an effective Scrum Master, someone who genuinely helps their team focus. #deliver. That's that whole idea of doing less to achieve more, right? Limiting work in progress to boost impact. We've pulled insights from the latest 2020 Scrum Guide, plus a lot of material from Michael Vizdos, that's Vizdos, who's got like 30 years in this space.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it's really for you, the experienced practitioner listening in. We want to get you past just the information, aiming for that real aha moment, because this isn't just about fiddling around the edges. We're talking fundamental shifts, moving from managing to truly leading.
Okay, let's dive into that because, the challenge isn't just learning new jargon, is it? It's unlearning old habits. A traditional project manager, they often work with that command and control style, directing tasks, drafting outcomes. But Michael Vizdos, he doesn't really pull punches here. He calls trying to manage Scrum with those old methods a delusional fantasy. That's pretty blunt. Why is it so delusional for someone with that background?
It's a great question because, that hits right at the core of a PM's identity sometimes.
Yeah.
Why delusional? Because Scrum is built on completely different foundations, self-management and empiricism. Teams learn by doing. They adapt based on what they actually see and experience, not just following a detailed plan laid out months ago. So trying to manage that, well, it directly fights against the whole idea. You're imposing control on something meant to be adaptive. Leading Scrum, though, that's different. That's about enabling the team, building their skills, creating the right environment so they can figure things out and succeed, not you controlling the outcome directly. And this leads straight to something often tricky for PM's trust. Vizdos is super clear on this. Without trust, he says, organizations just get stuck. They can't empower teams to find better ways. So for you, coming from that experienced PM role, that first step, maybe the hardest one, is letting go of direct control and really truly embracing trust. It's a leap.
That makes a lot of sense. It's way beyond just process, isn't it? It's philosophical. So if trust is the foundation, let's dig into Scrum's core theory, empiricism and lean thinking. For a PM used to Gantt charts, detailed risk plans up front. How does empiricism, this idea of knowledge from experience, how does that actually change how you handle risk?
Yeah, that's often where the light bulb goes on for people. If you think risk is handled by more upfront planning, empiricism flips that completely. It's not just learning by doing randomly. It's a structured feedback loop. You make decisions based on seeing real, working software, not just guessing. And lean thinking comes in by cutting out waste, anything that doesn't add real value. So instead of trying to predict everything, you're constantly looking at what's actually happening now and adjusting, inspecting and adapting. In complex situations, this iterative way actually gives you more control over risk and better predictability than a rigid plan ever could. It replaces that illusion of control with genuine responsiveness.
Okay, so theory sounds good, but how does this actually work in practice? What are the sort of mechanisms Scrum uses to make this continuous learning happen, especially for a team used to working linearly?
Right, that's where the three pillars of empiricism come in. Transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Think of them like gears meshing together. Transparency means everyone can see what's going on. The work, the process, it's all visible. Shared understanding. Without that, you're just guessing. Or worse, people are hiding things.
Which makes inspection kind of useless, right?
Exactly. Inspection is diligently checking progress towards the goal, looking for problems or deviations. But, like you said, inspection without transparency. It's misleading. You might inspect the wrong thing entirely. Total waste of time. And then inspection without adaptation. Well, that's just pointless, isn't it? You can see the problems all day long, but if you don't change anything based on what you see, what was the point? Just going through the motions.
So these pillars sound like the mechanics, but people drive them. Which brings us to the Scrum values: commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. Vizdos uses that FORCE acronym. For a project manager who might feel like they are the ones supposed to enforce these things, how do these values actually help a team live those empirical pillars? And which ones might be toughest for a traditional PM to really get behind, and why?
Good question. I'd probably say openness and courage often feel the most challenging. As a PM, sometimes the impulse is to, manage perceptions, maybe shield the team from bad news to hit a date. But in Scrum, openness is vital for transparency. You have to be willing to share the real state of things, the good, the bad, the blockers, even when it's uncomfortable. And courage. You need that to actually inspect those uncomfortable truths, to call out issues, challenge how things are done, and adapt, even if it means admitting you were wrong or need to change course.
And the others, commitment and focus.
Commitment and focus fuel adaptation. The team needs dedication to the sprint goal without constant distractions so they can actually do the work needed to adapt and deliver. And respect underpins everything. It creates that safe space where people can be open and courageous without fear of blame.
It's a strong framework.
Yeah.
But you mentioned trust earlier. Visdos hammers this home. Without trust, none of this works, even though it's not a formal value. So how does a lack of trust make transparency crumble, turn inspection into blame games, and stop adaptation? You mentioned psychological safety and emotional maturity from his talks.
Yeah, it's like the invisible acid that dissolves Scrum. Without trust, without psychological safety, transparency feels dangerous. People won't share the real status because they fear blame, not help, so they hide problems. Then inspection becomes about finding who messed up, not what systemic issue needs fixing. It's finger-pointing. And adaptation, no chance. Nobody will risk suggesting something new if failure leads to punishment. It kills courage, openness, any real learning. For a PM, this is a massive shift. You're moving from managing individual performance to fostering collective accountability in a safe-to-fail environment, which is totally different from a culture focused purely on avoiding failure.
Okay, that really clarifies the environment needed. Let's pivot to the actual role then.
Yeah.
The Scrum Master, the 2020 Scrum Guide talks about moving from rigid roles to dynamic accountabilities. That feels like more than just changing words. How does this change the Scrum Master's core job, especially for someone coming from a PM world defined by clear roles?
It's a really significant reframing, actually. For a traditional PM, a role is usually a box with fixed duties, often tied to authority. Accountability focuses on the outcome you're responsible for, the impact, not just the tasks. So the Scrum Master's core accountability. It's establishing Scrum as it's defined in the guide and ensuring the Scrum team's overall effectiveness. That means you're accountable for the team using Scrum well and getting results through Scrum, but not directly accountable for delivering the product itself, if that makes sense.
It does, but it leads to the next question. What does being a true leader who serves actually look like day to day compared to what a PM traditionally does? What are they doing and what are they definitely not doing?
Right. So a great Scrum Master is basically a coach, a facilitator, a barrier remover. They coach the team on self-management, on cross-functionality, helping them figure out how to work best, not telling them. They help the team stay focused on delivering valuable stuff, often by shielding them from distractions or noise from outside. They're accountable for causing impediments to be removed. That might mean navigating organizational politics, chasing down dependencies, clearing blockers, and they ensure the Scrum events happen, are positive, productive, kept to their time box, and actually serve their purpose for the team.
Which is very different from managing Gantt charts or assigning resources.
Totally different. Vistos emphasizes the Scrum Master has zero authority over project delivery. Their power comes from influence, coaching, service, not hierarchy. For a PM, this means giving up that illusion of direct control over the outcome and instead embracing the power of enabling the team to succeed.
Okay, zero authority over delivery. I can almost hear some PMs shifting uncomfortably. If they don't have authority over delivery, how do they make sure stuff gets done, especially with deadlines looming? And what are the big mistakes, those anti-patterns, a PM turned Scrum Master absolutely has to dodge?
Yeah, it's a crucial distinction. They ensure delivery not by command, but by making sure the Scrum system works well. Is the team self-managing effectively? Are impediments getting surfaced and removed quickly? Is the product owner prioritizing well? Is the team focused? Their influence is on the process and the environment, which enables delivery. It's systemic, not directive. As for pitfalls,
Ah, boy.
Visdos gives a huge warning about one person trying to be both product owner and Scrum Master. He says, quote, "You will get burned, and I have not seen it successful at all. The conflict of interest is just too big."
Why specifically? What's the conflict?
The product owner wants to maximize product value, right? Often pushing for more scope, more features. The Scrum Master protects the team in the process, ensuring a sustainable pace, upholding quality, trying to wear both hats. It's impossible to serve both masters faithfully. You'll inevitably compromise one side or the other.
Makes sense. What about a Scrum Master who's also trying to be a developer on the team? That seems common too.
It does happen, often out of necessity, but yeah, it's another pitfall. The risk is losing focus on the whole team's effectiveness. You might jump in with solutions instead of coaching the team to find their own, undermine self-management, or you just get swamped with development asks and don't have the bandwidth to tackle bigger organizational impediments or coach the PO and the team properly. So for you, coming from that PM background, it means consciously unlearning those habits of direct intervention, stepping back, facilitating, coaching, protecting, building their capability, not just showing yours.
That's a serious amount of unlearning. Okay, let's talk practical interaction. Visdos stresses conversations and context for real change. For a PM used to formal reports, status meetings, how does a Scrum Master use informal conversations to build context? And how does something like the Tuckman model, forming, storming, norming, performing, help guide the team?
Yeah, this is where the real craft comes in. For a PM used to documentation trails, relying on conversations can feel a bit loose, maybe. But in Scrum, these conversations are the lifeblood, continuous flow of information. A good Scrum Master deliberately fosters environments where these can happen naturally, not just scheduled meetings. And Tuckman, that's like your diagnostic tool for team health. Any change, new member, new big challenge often resets the team back towards forming. A PM might see storming conflict, disagreement as failure, something to shut down fast. But a Scrum Master sees it as natural, healthy even, part of the process. Their job is to coach the team through it, using those conversations to build safety, clarify roles, establish norms, and help them reach performing. It needs deliberate attention.
That's a great perspective, seeing storming as necessary, not just negative. Okay, let's zoom in on two specific points where conversations and context are vital. First, product backlog refinement. Visdos calls it the greatest non-event event. Why is it so important? And what happens if teams skimp on it?
Yeah, the greatest non-event event. It's crucial because it's where the team developer's product owner really digs into upcoming backlog items before sprint planning. They break things down, add details, estimate, clarify. They build that shared understanding and context together. Visdos is blunt. Finish product backlog refinement before you begin sprint planning. You are screwed. And he's right. Going into planning with vague items, it's chaos. You can't plan properly. The sprint goal is at risk. The team gets frustrated. That refinement work is the investment needed for a smooth sprint.
Okay, so refinement first, then the daily scrum. For a PM, this often feels like the old daily stand-up, right? Quick status update. But you're saying it's fundamentally different. What is its real purpose? How does the Scrum Master keep it on track?
Totally different purpose. The daily scrum is a 15-minute meeting specifically for the developers. It's their chance to inspect progress towards a sprint goal and adapt their plan for the next 24 hours. It's not a status report for anyone else. The Scrum Master's job is mainly to ensure the developers have the meeting, understand its purpose, and keep it within the time box. Maybe facilitate if needed, but step back. The focus should be, what did we do yesterday to help meet the sprint goal? What will we do today? And crucially, what impediments are blocking us from reaching the sprint goal? A PM might want to jump in, ask for individual updates, solve problems in the meeting. A Scrum Master protects it as the developer's planning and synchronization event. It enables their self-management.
This really ties everything together, leading to that Visdos philosophy: focus, #deliver. For someone used to complex plans where busy equals productive, how does doing less limiting work in process actually make you more productive? It feels backwards.
It does feel backwards to many, and it's often the toughest mental shift. In traditional models, you try to keep everyone 100% busy, juggling multiple tasks. But that leads to context switching, delays, lots of half-finished work piling up. Focus, #deliver, flips it, do fewer things at once, but finish them, get them done. Limiting WIP forces real prioritization. It exposes bottlenecks faster, it reduces complexity, and ultimately gets actual usable value delivered much sooner. It breaks the cycle of busy work where everyone looks frantic, but nothing valuable actually ships.
So it's way more than just adopting Scrum practices. It's a whole system change. What's the final word then against maybe cutting corners or looking for an easy button here? The Agile snake oil idea.
Yeah, the crucial thing is implementing Scrum well requires work beyond just reading, listening to watching the Scrum guide. You have to do this.
Yeah.
Work. There are no shortcuts, no magic bullets. You can't just rename your old meetings and expect different results. That's the classic lipstick on a pig. Looks different, tastes the same. You're showing activity, not delivering value. Real success comes from that genuine mindset shift, living the values, the Scrum Master understanding their true accountability, enabling the team. It all points back to simplifying, focusing, and consistently shipping usable value. For you, coming from complex plans, embracing that simplicity and discipline of focus, #deliver. That's the real transformation. That's true agility.
Okay, so if we boil it down, the one key takeaway for you, our listener making the shift. Moving from project manager to effective Scrum Master isn't about managing tasks. It's about leading and enabling people through trust, through empiricism, clear accountability, all to help your team focus. #deliver.
Absolutely. And to help you start doing the work, Here's a concrete action item. Look at your team's current way of working. Identify just one thing that feels like lipstick on a pig. Maybe your daily Scrum really is just a status report. Commit to starting a conversation with your team about its real purpose this week. Just start the conversation. Actually do the work on that. And hey, if you found this deep dive useful, please like it, subscribe to the channel. We'd love that. Even better, share your actionable item in the comments below. We can be accountability partners.
And definitely let us know if you have a tricky situation you'd like us to tackle in a future deep dive. Send it our way. Thanks so much for joining us today. Focus, #deliver.